been a while, guys, hasn't it? Since I've had this out, since I've been sat in this room talking about things. But yeah, this is SlimmBob. Time for another video, and this time I'm talking about Interstellar. Yes, I am. Yeah, I've been to the pictures. I've actually been. I'm amazed. Cineworld. Oh my god. £6 on Tuesdays. They've reduced price, and if you order online, you get a discount. £5.40. £5.40 to go to pictures. I can't remember. In fact, I know last time I paid less than £6 to go to pictures. But blooming, when they had that picture, they had that UCI, it were called, in Crystal Peaks. That were, people live in Sheffield will know about that. And seeing Harry Potter 1 at UCI Cinema with school, very good times. I think there's actually a small camera. Yeah, hopefully that's alright now. But yeah, we're not talking about Harry Potter 1. We're talking about the new Christopher Nolan film, Interstellar. And this film, obviously it's highly anticipated. You know, this guy, Christopher Nolan. In fact, one of my first reviews on this channel was Dark Knight. Yep, so that's how old these videos are. Bloody hell. Interstellar. What can I say? I mean, films like this don't come around every day. Every decade they don't even come around. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I really like this film. I thought it would easily film a year, and one of the best films I've seen in a long time. Like, remember I went off in Avatar video. Well, if I'd filmed this then, that's oh, fuck me, what were I thinking back then? But if I were filming this then, I would have done that exact same thing with this film. Yeah, this is a much better film than Avatar. Like, this is just like, people have been comparing it to 2001: A Space Odyssey. And yeah, this is the modern 2001. This is the 2001 for this generation. This is one of those things, before I even talk about this film, if you've not seen it yet, even if you don't plan on seeing it, if you've not been to pictures in a long time, you need to go. You need to see this. I think everyone needs to go and see this. This is one of those things. This is history that's been made with this film getting released. It's one of those instances where it's going to get a couple of decades, and people are going to be saying, they're going to have in the conversation saying, I wish I were there back in the day when Interstellar first came out. Oh, I wish I'd have seen it in pictures back in the day. This is one of them films. It's, even if you don't think you'll like it, I think it might be different to what you're expecting. It's not an action film by any means. It's a character-driven film. It's really about relationship between McConaughey and his daughter, and how that changes, how just things change so suddenly. It's such a human film, and it's so beautiful, like artistically. You know, I need my frameless glasses. Like, it's artistically, it's just beautiful. When they first go to Saturn and it's showing, you first see Saturn and you see the ship slowly going across, and it takes its time. It's so nice to see a blockbuster, an action blockbuster that's a 12A, a modern action blockbuster that's a 12A that just takes its time, that's only 3 hours long, and that just, it knows exactly what it's doing. It kind of reminds me of District 9 in a way. District 9 was one of those, that's kind of its own thing. That don't fit into any genre, that's a weird movie. And it works. It's clearly got its own thing that it's trying to do, and it works. This is a much better film than District 9, but, you know, the point still stands. Yeah. Some people have been moaning about this film, like, saying that the science isn't realistic, like to do with the black holes and all that. I've not looked into these complaints, I'm going to be honest. And even me, I did physics at college, and even with my limited knowledge in physics, even at some bits I was like, yeah, that's stupid. But honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, it gets to a point where it just really doesn't matter because the characters are so good. There's obviously a story going on. Some of the imagery, I think this is a thing, when something's artistic like this, you let things slide. It's like the author obviously wants you to tell you something. He's trying to tell you something. It's like, if you're going to let these so-called problems interfere with that, what the author's trying to tell you, then when everything else in the movie is so good, where the characters are so good, the tension building in this is so good. You've got problems if you're not suspending disbelief when there's so much good in this movie. I think they've been vocal, these people. I'm seeing it everywhere. Like, I think it's a minority, because the general consensus for this movie is it's doing good. Like, reviews haven't been amazing, and that I've kind of expected, because it is a long movie. It doesn't have a logical structure. It does. It's a bit like, you know, in Insidious, like halfway through that, it kind of, when he goes into the nightmare realm, it kind of turns into a different movie. This is kind of like that, where it has some concepts that it throws out there, and unless you're along for the ride, you're not going to. It might be a bit jarring if you're not along for the ride. See, I'm trying not to spoil things. You know, there's a wormhole. Yeah, I'm not going to say much about the story. If I do, I'll wait till I've given my score and then talk about spoilers. But it's a very difficult, even like, because I saw it yesterday, even after a day thinking about it and trying to come up with what I'm going to say in this review, it's still difficult to pin down exactly what I enjoyed about this movie. But if I have to really think, it is the characters. It's the acting is really good. Like McConaughey and his daughter, they're the two, and the daughter as well. You see her pretty much her entire life, and each version of her, obviously they've got a different actress. It always feels like the same person, and especially like the kid and when she's older, they look so similar. Like the facial structure and shit looks really similar. It's kind of uncanny, but yeah, they always feel like the same person. And the kid is a really good actress, like damn good actress. And their bond, because that's usually the thing that suffers in films like this, when they have a kid and a seasoned actor like trying to bond. A lot of the times it don't quite work. That bond don't quite work. But this movie, it's like you really do feel as though McConaughey's, that they really care about each other, and it's the fact that it all comes together, and in the end, because there's all this going on, I'm not spoiling the ending by the way, but like, because in the end it's about family, it's about people, it's about what's doing right for people, and even though they go across a galaxy, it's, they're crossing dimensions and all that, it's concepts that are so difficult to understand, because that's the thing, when you think of sentient life, you think of concepts that are beyond our comprehension. That's just what we naturally think. That's what it is. But in this movie, everything comes back to the family. It comes back to what's important, and that's looking after your family and looking after your people. It has some really high concepts that you don't see a lot, and it takes its time. It takes 3 hours to show you these concepts. And there's lots of moments earlier on in the movie that are referenced later on, and you see everything starts to come together. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be one of those movies people are going to put on their lists of greatest sci-fi movies. If this isn't on any sci-fi lists, there's something wrong. This is his masterpiece. This is Christopher Nolan's best movie. I mean, I do love his Batman's, well, I like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, they're great movies. Prestige was a fucking phenomenal movie. Inception's a good movie. But this, oh my god, this is his baby, and you can tell. I feel like, because even the small fight. In fact, before I talk about this, I'm gonna confirm it, but I'm pretty sure Hans Zimmer did soundtrack. Don't mind me. Yeah, Hans Zimmer did music. Even, I just can't believe that, like, it doesn't sound like a Nolan soundtrack. I mean, when you listen to his earlier stuff, he did do a lot different kind of sounds, but as soon as he started with the Batman era, every soundtrack he's done for any, he's always does like spy thrillers, you know, detective things and all that, but the soundtracks are always literally the same, and it will get to a point where all Hollywood movies sounding exactly the same with soundtrack. But this movie, it's like Christopher Nolan's gone up to him and said, "Look, you need to pull out your A game for this movie. We're all putting everything into this." And Hans Zimmer has looked at that and he's been like, "Oh my God, I can do this. I'm gonna do a good soundtrack for a change." And if we can get a soundtrack like that, it's honestly that's one of the best soundtracks I've heard in years, and it's from Hans Zimmer. The fact that I'm glad to see him do a good soundtrack again. That's my point. But guys, do you want me to talk about a story? I'm not going to spoil things. Yeah, I've decided that. I'm not going to spoil all. I'm just going to say that Matthew McConaughey lives on a farm with his family. Earth is running out of resources. There's a storm that keeps coming and destroying all the crops, and pretty soon it's looking bad. Earth needs a new home, and NASA they've found a wormhole on the edge of Saturn. So what they do, McConaughey somehow gets roped into, because he's the best pilot essentially, and him and a small team with Anne Hathaway, two other guys. There's basically 4 people get roped into this mission to go through this wormhole and try and find a planet for Earth to move to, for the people of Earth to move to. And that's the movie. Obviously a lot going on, you know, he has issues with his family before he sets off, and I'm not saying all else because I went into this movie. What I've told you is basically what's in the trailer. And I went into this movie, this is what I've loved about Interstellar. If you watch the trailer, it pretty much just shows you exactly what I've told you. And you can figure out the rest, you can enjoy the rest of the movie. Have a blast. Just go and watch it. I'm giving it 5. I'm giving it 5 stars. It's a 5-star movie. This is one of the best I've seen in a very long time. And I'm kind of glad because well, I've seen 3 movies this year, haven't I? No, I think I've seen 2. I saw Godzilla. Yeah, that was disappointing. I like Godzilla, and it were alright. The bits where Godzilla were in it were good, but the problem is, you see, I don't mind a Godzilla film where there's not much Godzilla, if the human characters are good, if it is interesting. But the problem is, that movie was 10 minutes of Godzilla and 2 hours of every generic alien film we've seen in Hollywood, like fucking Battle Los Angeles and all that crap. And I didn't want to see that, you know, military crap again. Because Godzilla, they're always different stories every time. It's always very interesting, but not with this one, no. So hopefully the next one will be good. I have faith. I like Gareth Edwards. He's alright, that lad. But what other one? Hercules, one with Rock. That was very good, that. I really enjoyed it. It should have been a 15, like, but it was good. And, oh my God, so much stuff they got away with violence in that. Oh, insane. But yeah, that was fun. But compared to Interstellar, oh my God. Interstellar, do not go into it expecting a normal action blockbuster. You have to go into it expecting... You have to go into it with a completely open mind. The same way, in the same mentality you would go watching 2001: A Space Odyssey. That is why people are comparing it to that, because it has its own rules, it has its own story and its own agenda that it wants to tell. And it does it so perfectly. But you have to be along for that ride. Don't be worried about science being realistic and all that bollocks, because it's science fiction. You know, get some fucking liberties, and offer it as well. Could be explained. By the end of the movie, some of it might make sense. It might be able to be explained. So just go and watch it, even if you feel like that might bog you down. I would still go and watch it, because it's worth going anyway, just because of how great the characters are, how great some of the tense moments are. Just that sense of awe. That's why people comparing it to 2001, you know, because I don't watch science fiction movies and be in awe, feel myself lift up, feel scared, feel like I'm feel claustrophobic because of all that space out there. One of those movies, it makes you feel like you're there, and makes you look at the beauty. I mean, even the soundtrack, like, it has a lot of organs, and a lot of really powerful orchestral moments, kind of like 2001, where it's just, you're looking at something, it's just showing you how beautiful a planet is, and it's just taking its time, and just sinking it all in, and it's good. It's just so good. It's a great movie, and please go and watch it. Watch it for the robot and all. The robot is right funny, isn't it? I'm surprised it weren't voiced by Paul Bettany, but the robot were really cool, and with humour settings and all that. It has some good humour in it. It's not like some Christopher Nolan films, especially The Dark Knight Rises, had this problem where some of the humour, it was like one-liners just came out of nowhere, like some of the humour was forced, but in this movie it all feels natural, like they're trying to relieve tension. That it just feels normal. It feels like natural flowing conversation in this. That's one of the biggest achievements, if I'm being honest, because Christopher Nolan movies are usually very plot heavy. Very, very plot heavy. It's not very, the characters don't drive the plot along, that's what I mean. It's all just events going one into another. Whereas this movie is all about, yeah, they go into these planets and they happen to be doing that, but it's more about the characters' journeys. It's more about, the plot changes depending on how they react to each other, their relationships. It's a lot more character driven than Christopher Nolan's other movies, so it's a massive achievement. Absolutely massive achievement. So, 5 stars. I highly recommend it. Go and watch it. Please go and watch it, and in IMAX if you can. I regret not watching it in IMAX. I might go again. See it in IMAX. But yeah, that's great stuff. And if you've seen it, let me know what you thought. I might be going over the top, but yeah, I thought it was one of the best movies I've seen in a long time, a very long time. And it's fun to see a Nolan movie that's not got what's his name, Christian Bale in it. Although, obviously, Michael Caine shows up. And halfway, now halfway were good as well. Like, I didn't like her in Dark Knight Rises. She was miscast. It's not really her fault, but she was miscast as Catwoman, I thought. I did review that movie. Yeah, I didn't get the best response for that one. It's because I kind of slagged it off. I'm sorry guys, I still don't like that movie. Shame. It's it's alright. It's alright when you're drunk. I watched it again when I was drunk, like another time, and it were a laugh. I watched it as a standalone, just not taking it seriously, and it were alright, fun enough, but it's no on other two, is it really? But anyway, Interstellar, go and watch it. It's Nolan's best way. You can see the pride oozing off of it, and the performances are amazing. McConaughey is amazing. Especially, I'm not saying anything, I'm not spoiling it, just go and watch it and then comment. We'll have all spoilers in comments, guys, so we can talk about it down there, just not in the video, alright? Cool, alright, this is SlimmBob, thanks for watching. It's good to be back, by the way, guys, and goodbye. And goodbye.